through. Don't even know the half of my crew. I got 100 strong arm niggas ready to rock the shit. Clock tick, your days are numbered in low digits.
Hello. Welcome back. First video back in a while. Yeah, I get it. But you're gonna get a lot of videos because I got like 3 I'm working on right now, and at this time I'm not even halfway through week 1. So I love college football. College football is back, and let's get the first video of the season underway. Because we're talking about Notre Dame. Uh, what's better than week 1 overreactions, guys? Week 0 overreactions. Obviously, Notre Dame played Navy week 1, thumped them, stomped them, 42-3. What are the takeaways? What can we take away from this game? Well, first of all, I think Hartman looked amazing. I think Hartman, you know, you just, it's understandable when the guy is a little shaky, a little rough around the edges in week 1. But when he's not, and when he's firing on all cylinders, you just love to see it. And I think it's a sign of things to come, and that's what we saw from Hartman in week 1. The run game between Audric Estime, Chris Tyree, it looked very dangerous. Audric Estime, I think a lot of expectations hyped up or placed onto him, and I think he can shoulder the load, for the Notre Dame rushing offense this season. I thought he looked very impressive. The main thing, when I talked about Notre Dame in my top 15 power rankings video, is I wanted to see who was going to step up in the receiver room. Was it going to be the guys I talked about, or was it going to be some true freshmen I didn't know about? It was both. Jaden Greathouse, true freshman receiver, I think the talk of the town from Notre Dame. 3 catches, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a true freshman. He's a guy that I didn't know because you didn't play last season, and he burst onto the scene, made a big statement week 0. Jaden Thomas, he is a guy who played last season. He's the guy who I assumed was going to be the number 1. Still easily could be. I mean, he had the most catches, 4 for 63 and a touchdown. And then Deion Colzie, 3 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. Another guy who I was kind of looking at. So basically, I think these 3 guys, and I know it's just one game against Navy of all teams, but they didn't throw a pass, or they didn't at least complete a pass to a tight end all game. Notre Dame did not complete a pass to a tight end. So I think new offensive coordinator, obviously, with Tommy Rees leaving, I think the addition of Sam Hartman is going to open up this offense to a lot of things that we're not used to seeing from Notre Dame, and I'm ready for it. So let's get into their next immediate schedule, okay? Because this is not a whole season outlook just based off the Navy game. It's looking at what they did against Navy and now projecting what they can do against the remaining opening stretch of their schedule here. Tennessee State, they get them at home. Rest in peace to Tennessee State. It's going to be a thumping, possibly even worse than Navy. We'll have to wait and see. NC State on the road. Now, that would have been more interesting if NC State didn't struggle against UConn. Now, UConn, I believe they made a bowl last season, so let's not pretend that UConn is just a bum like they used to be. That's an opponent. That's not some D2 team. It's not a Power 5 team, certainly, but it's an opponent. But NC State, they only beat them 24-14, I believe. So not very impressive. Brennan Armstrong, I think, looked good, not great whatsoever. I think Notre Dame is going to beat NC State soundly. Even on the road, I do think they're going to win by at least 15 points. And then they get Central Michigan at home, who, let me actually bring up Central Michigan just to verify what I already thought. I believe they got thumped by somebody. Who was it? They get thumped by Michigan State tonight at the night I'm recording this video. On the fly verification here, pardon me. Yep, Michigan State just thumped Central Michigan 31-7. So I believe Notre Dame is going to absolutely dominate this next slate of games they got coming up pretty easily, if you ask me. Taking a look at that then, I already believe they're going to move up. I'd say a slot maybe. Put them in at 12. They might jump the loser of Florida FSU if it's FSU. So keep an eye on that. If they beat Tennessee State, let's just say they're at 11th. If they beat NC State on the road, let's say they're ninth, they could possibly jump Texas if they lose to Alabama. And if they beat Central Michigan, let's just say they're eighth. So 3 wins, starting the season off 4-0, and I think every single one of these games is going to be by at least 15. I think the closest will be NC State, obviously, on the road, but I still think that's going to be fairly easy for Notre Dame. So let's say they start the season off 4-0 with 4 blowout wins. I do think that's worthy of a top 8 at least ranking. Let's get to the point of this video. This is not going to be a long video because I'm not, trying to predict Notre Dame's whole season here. I'm not trying to do a full roster breakdown because I can't even really talk about their defense because they played Navy. Navy threw the ball like 8 times, okay? So it's hard to even judge that. I loved what I saw offensively. Let's talk about what everybody is interested in. Their first major game. They play a lot of big games. They play USC. They play Clemson. But week 4 against Ohio State, keep in mind, a key factor here. First of all, before I even get to that, Ohio State 7.5-point favorites. It's at Notre Dame, so that's a big advantage for Ohio State. I would certainly. I'm not really sure how betting works, but I would bet Notre Dame to cover. I think that means that they will keep the score. If they lose, I'm certainly not saying it's going to be by more than a touchdown. I think that's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, Ohio State favored heavily. Notre Dame, at this point, since they played a week 0 game, will have an extra game. They will have played 4 games. Ohio State will have only played 3 games. And this is very important, I think. But I do think Ohio State will be 3-0, having played. I think their toughest game will have been week 1 at Indiana. Not a very tough game at all. And like I just said, I think Notre Dame will be 4-0. So I do think it's going to be undefeated versus undefeated. I think Notre Dame will be between 7 and 9, probably 8. And Ohio State will be number 3, certainly. So we're going to have a top 10 matchup, Notre Dame with home field advantage, an extra game's worth of experience. What do we know here? Well, we know Kyle McCord was just named the starter for Ohio State. Certainly, you would have to give the edge, a massive edge at quarterback to Notre Dame. I think defensively, although Ohio State is improved, well, we hope they're improved defensively, I still would give Notre Dame the edge there, not even because of what I saw versus Navy, just because on paper I think they got a really good pass rush. Benjamin Morrison on Marvin Harrison Jr. I can't wait to see that matchup. So I'm gonna give this game to Notre Dame. I'm gonna give this game to Notre Dame. I think home field will have a lot to do with it. I just think Ohio State's going to be too sloppy. Maybe if this game was week 10 instead of week 4, we got a different story. But I think Kyle McCord's 4th start probably. Sam Hartman just having so much more. I mean, years upon years of more experience than him. I think Kyle McCord's going to, kind of crumble under the moment. And I know he's not the whole team here, but I don't think Ohio State's going to be able to slow Notre Dame down. I think Notre Dame's scoring at least 24, 27 points, at least 3 to 4 touchdowns. I'm not sure if Ohio State can keep up with that on the road. So I'm actually going to edge this game to Notre Dame, sorry. But let me know what you guys think. That was a shorter video. I want to do more shorter videos, kind of recapping what happened early and possibly revisit these in the future. Let me actually give a score prediction here. I got Notre Dame 27-20 over Ohio State at home in week 4. Let me know what you guys think. That's going to be the video. Thanks for watching.
It's out the motherfucking pack. Right out the niggas don't know how to act.